This girl has royal blood, but she's been living on the streets her whole life. One day, her true identity is discovered and she's brought back to the palace. But a happy ending isn't what's waiting for her. The king is now faced with a choice. He must select one of his daughters as a sacrifice. He has two options: Lillian, the girl he has doted on for years, as his precious daughter, even though they share no blood, or Beviana, his biological daughter who has spent her life on the streets and whom he has never met. Poor Princess BBE just wants her father's love, but she has no idea how to get it. The daughter chosen as the sacrifice will be cast aside, while the other will continue to live as a princess, enjoying a lifetime of wealth and luxury. So, who did the king choose? In the end, Lillian was chosen as the sacrifice and Beana was allowed to stay, but this was no happy ending. Who would have thought that Lillian, the one chosen for sacrifice, would survive while Beana would be the one to lose her life? And that's where our main character comes in. She's been transported into this story and has become Bibana. As she was desperately trying to figure out how to escape the story's tragic fate, a maid pushed open the door and asked, "Your Highness, are you ready?" Bina looked at her reflection and said, "Wow, I'm gorgeous. I could totally be a model with this face." But according to the plot, she wouldn't live past the age of 18. She turned to the maid and asked, "Where are we going?" The maid replied, "We're going to have an audience with your father, the king." Without warning, the maid swooped down and picked her up. Startled, the girl cried out, "Hey, put me down!" "Why? I'm your maid." "Isn't it my duty to carry you?" the maid asked, her eyes welling up with tears. "I'm 10 years old. I don't need to be carried. I'm sorry. I've overstepped, your highness." Seeing her distress, Babiana quickly changed her tune. "It's not that. It's because I'm heavy and I don't want you to get tired. You can carry me when I'm tired." The maid's eyes filled with tears again. "Oh, princess, you are so considerate. What a sweet child." Just then, a boy appeared at the door. "I was wondering what that commoner stench was, so it was you who opened the door." This boy, who clearly didn't know how to speak to people, was Beviana's second brother, Geno. This second prince actually said to her, "You ek of the streets, get away from me." Instead of backing away, she leaned in closer. The second prince got flustered. "What are you sniffing? Are you a dog?" Then she said, "Brother, you smell a bit like poop." He immediately sniffed his sleeve. "Liar, I do not smell." No, not the kind of poop you're thinking of. It's the smell of golden poop." The prince was confused. "Golden poop? What's that?" "It's made of gold, of course. Something only noble people have." "I'm a noble person." The prince finally realized he'd been tricked. Baby was intentionally trying to provoke him. To become the sacrifice, she needs everyone to hate her. Soon she came face to face with the father she'd never met. "Oh, he's handsome," she couldn't help but exclaim. The maid next to her immediately panicked. The king barely glanced up. A child from the streets, as uncultured as expected. The maid quickly begged for forgiveness, hoping the king wouldn't punish her. The king shot her a look. "Did I say I was going to punish her?" Just then, a sickeningly sweet voice chirped, "Daddy, come try this. It's yummy." Biana felt a wave of disgust at the fake cutesy voice. "Lillian, come over here. It's time you two met." Lillian stretched out her arms, demanding to be carried. Her father told her to walk over herself. She started to whine. "No, I want Daddy to carry me." Babina covered her face, thinking, "Oh my God, please don't make me suffer through this. I'm going to be sick." Inevitably, the king picked Lillian up and made the introduction. "This is Bina, like you, Lillian. She is a princess." Who would have guessed that Lillian would fake cry and pout, "Lee doesn't like her." Babina fought back her anger. "Others might not know you, but I know exactly who you are." In the book, Lillian was a wicked person who used her cuteness as a weapon. She was actually the illegitimate daughter of a palace maid, swapped at birth with the real princess, me. Since the king had found the girl, it meant he already knew the truth. But he never exposed Lillian. This must be true love. The fake father-daughter pair has more affection than the real one. Biana reached out to wave hello. Lillian glanced at her father, saw he was busy with paperwork, and her expression instantly changed. She hissed at Babiana. Don't even think about taking my place. Everyone here likes me. You don't stand a chance. Babina shot back. Not interested in your spot. You'd be wise not to mess with me. Just as the tension reached its peak, a voice from the doorway called out, Father! The Grand Prince was the worst. His father asked him to escort Babina to her room, but he deliberately walked so fast that she was left chasing after him, sweating. When they reached the door, she immediately dismissed him. This is my room. You can go now, the Grand Prince said smugly, trying to get rid of me so quickly. Weren't you captivated the moment you saw me? Are you shy because I'm too handsome? No way, you conceited prince. Then the Grand Prince asked, Why are you living in such a remote room? She said her father had arranged it. How should I know? But her inner thoughts were, This is perfect. I don't want to stand out at all. Absolutely not. The Grand Prince thought to himself, Commoners are so hard to understand. Inside the room, the maid was worried. Princess, तुम मत बड़ी हार्ट अटैक देना जाए. तू पोलाइट कर रहे हैं जब आप मैजेस्टी को देखना के लिए ताकि अपने की फेवर सकता है यहाँ पर. The girl replied coolly, Why do I need his favor? Because the maid was stumped. I don't want to be his favorite. I only need the people I like to like me. Like you, Isabel. The maid was completely charmed, thinking to herself, The princess's smile is so adorable. I wish more people could see it. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Commoner, get out here and face me. It was the second prince. Babina crossed her arms. Are you blind? I'm right here. Dealing with a brat like you is so easy for me. The second prince put his hands on his hips. I'm warning you. Don't mess with Lily again or I'll make you pay. She waved a dismissive hand. I have no interest in bothering Lillian. It'll be a miracle if she doesn't bother me. Okay, you've said your piece. You can go now, you little brat. The second prince pointed a finger at her. You dare call me a little brat? Lily would never bother a filthy commoner like you. That set her off. You're so annoying. I was going to let you off easy, but now you've asked for it. With that, she let loose a torrent of insults. The second prince was stunned into silence. You dare talk to me like that? I'm going to tell father. You just wait. She just smiled. Go on, hurry. Don't you dare let me off the hook. This girl was on another level. When the second prince came looking for trouble, she fought back so hard he was left speechless and ran off crying to their father. Her maid rushed over anxiously. Is the second prince gone? Did he do anything to you? She just smiled. What could he do to me? No matter what, he's still my brother. This only made the maid more worried. But he's done so many awful things to you before, like this and this. The thought of it all just added to her anxiety. Don't worry, let's see if he dares to touch me now. Before I was new here and didn't know anything, so I was afraid to cross him. If only I had read this book sooner, I never would have taken that man's hand. She thought, lost in a memory. Is this the day I die? Just as she had lost all hope, a man appeared before her. Are you the one? What's your name? Do you want to come with me? She just stared at him blankly. The man frowned. No name or can't speak. I can't believe my own blood is a fool and a mute one at that. My kitty. Can I bring my kitty with me? She asked timidly. The man replied, From this day forward, you are the emperor's daughter. You can have anything you desire. He held out his hand. Come back to the palace with me. That will be your home from now on. I was so naive back then. I thought having a family meant I'd have someone to rely on. Who knew my father just wanted another candidate for the sacrifice? He only found me because of my hair color. But he never acted like a father. Just then the maid opened the door. Princess, would you like to take a walk in the garden? She worried about running into Lillian and the others. She wanted to avoid them at all costs. The maid reassured her. Don't worry, Princess Lillian and the other princes usually aren't in the garden at this time. The words were barely out of her mouth before the girl shot out the door like a rocket. The maid draped a cloak over her and gushed. Oh my, the princess looks beautiful in everything. In the distance, a voice called out, Father, Lillian loves you the most. My brothers too, but I love father most of all. But Biana watched them and thought, yes, please. You all continue being happy together. Just don't include me in it. That way, I'll be the one left alone to live. This woman was the princess's maid, but right now she was fast asleep, sitting up. Looking at her sleeping maid, Babina's heart ached. This must be so hard on her. The other princes and princesses have so many servants to look after them in shifts, but she's the only one taking care of me day in and day out. Gently, she shook the maid. Isabel, wake up, it's morning. I'm so sorry, Your Highness. I can't believe I slept in later than you. From now on, just sleep next to me. It's too hard for you to sleep like that. The maid looked horrified. I couldn't possibly. How could I lie down next to the princess? The girl just smiled. It's fine. It's just the two of us here. Don't worry about it. Just then, the Grand Prince arrived. What's up? Why are you here so early? The Grand Prince couldn't help but chuckle at the pillow marks on her face from a bean filled pillow. He said, hurry up and get ready. Father is taking everyone on a boat ride, and that includes you, the stray he picked up. Not a kid. I'm not going. You are a kid, and this is an order from father. I'll drag you there if I have to. Bina asked, why a sudden boat ride? Is there a reason? The Grand Prince replied, not really. It's just because Lillian wanted to go. Her eyes widened in alarm. Lillian, don't tell me she's planning to push me into the water and pretend it was an accident. Do I have to go? She asked, resigned. You have to go. Fine. I'll be out when I'm changed. At that moment, the Grand Prince spoke up. I'm coming in too. I'm the Grand Prince. I can't be expected to wait outside like a servant. If you need to change, go ahead and change. You're just a kid. It's not like I'm going to look. The girl was so mad, she was speechless. You better not turn around and look. I know. Just hurry up. Don't keep father waiting. Soon she was dressed. The Grand Prince turned around and saw her in a beautiful dress, looking absolutely adorable. But he still said with a sneer, you stray. You sure take a long time to change. Unlike my ugly older brother, I actually need time to look good. Then the Grand Prince said, hey, I think I just heard you call me older brother. Oh, sorry, my mistake. I meant to call you conceited prince. That's better. Your voice saying brother is even more annoying than Lillian's. You should never say it again. Whatever. You sound disappointed, but you're trying to act tough. Suddenly, the Grand Prince said one word. Hand. The girl was completely confused. I need to hold your hand so you don't run away. She muttered under her breath. Idiot, why would I run away? Just then she felt a burning gaze on her, but besides, there was no one else at the door. After she changed, they went to the garden. Looking at the lake before them, the Grand Prince said, a commoner like you has probably never seen this much water in your life, right? Father had this lake built for Lillian when she was 5, but replied without emotion, is that so? What a waste. The Grand Prince frowned. Stop talking like a commoner, it's unnivilized. Father likes smart children, she thought to herself. I don't want a father like that to like me. They then went to see their father. Elarian, you are late. My apologies, father. The girl was surprised. Is that it? I thought for sure he'd blame me, but I don't want to owe him one. She then spoke up to the king. It's not his fault. I was the one who was slow. A garbage father who sees his daughter as a candidate for a sacrifice. I'm not afraid of you. The king just smirked. You really are a peculiar child. He then asked Lillian, who are you riding with today? The Grand Prince spoke up. I don't like the water. I'd rather stay here and read, Lillian read in her high-pitched voice. But I wanted to ride in the boat with my big brother. Meanwhile, Babina was thinking, I wish she would just shut up. Why does she have to talk in such a disgusting way? Next, the king asked Lillian if she wanted to go with Geno. The second prince, Gino, stammered, I want to play on the shore. I don't really want to go on the boat. Babiana taunted him. Are you scared of the water? The second prince gulped and then jumped onto the boat. See, I'm not scared of water at all, but his trembling legs gave him away. You'd better just get back up here, the Grand Prince said, lifting him right off the boat. Second brother is so lame. Lily doesn't want to ride with him. She then pointed at Baba. Lily wants to ride with her. Do you have to ride with her? Lillian nodded. I have to. The king sighed and tied something to Lillian's ankle. This is a magic floaty. It will keep you from drowning. After placing Lilian in the boat, he told Bhavanna, "You get into." The girl was furious. "Hey, where's my floaty? I guess it doesn't matter if I drown, right?" Once the king was gone, Lilian said to her, "You saw how everyone acted today. Nobody likes you. If you know what's good for you, you leave." Bena replied, "I don't care if anyone likes me. I'm not leaving until I get what I want." Her real thought was, "I'm so young. How would I even survive out there?" Then Lillian's expression turned vicious. "Since you won't leave, don't blame me for what happens next." The fake princess was just awful. To frame Babiana, she intentionally fell into the river. Babina was about to jump in to save her, but then she remembered before they got on the boat, their father had given Lillian a magic floaty to prevent drowning. So, she's trying to frame me. How vicious. I'll just sit here and watch your little show. Besides, Lillian must have miscalculated. They were too far from the shore for their father to notice. Suddenly, Lillian's magic floaty malfunctioned and she started to sink. "Help! Help me! Father, help!" she cried in panic. Watching Lillian struggle, Fabina thought, "No way! Is she really drowning?" "Hey, you better not die on me. If I'm the only princess left, the whole story will be ruined." With that, she leaped into the water. Soon she had pulled Lillian to the surface. The guards on the shore saw the princesses in the water and quickly swam out to them. The guards brought the princesses back to shore. One of them reported, "I saw Princess Baba save Princess Lillian." A doctor rushed to the scene and immediately began checking on Lillian, but Babina was only held by her maid. "Did you save Lillian?" her father asked. She replied, "I didn't do it out of the kindness of my heart. It's just that if she kicked the bucket right there, I'd never be able to clear my name." Her father just said coolly, "It seems you're not a completely hopeless child after all," she retorted angrily. "What are you calling hopeless?" The king ignored her and ordered the doctor to take Lillian for a thorough examination. Only then did he turn back to Babiana. "Tonight you will join us for dinner." She immediately refused. "No, that's okay. I'm used to eating alone." "Don't always isolate yourself. After all, we're a family." She thought to herself, "Some family." The original Bayana tried so hard to please you all, and no one treated her with kindness. In the end, you didn't choose her as the sacrifice out of some sense of blood loyalty, but you still ended up getting her killed. So earning your love isn't worth anything. Then she said three words to her father: "I refuse." But he replied sternly, "I am the emperor. I'm telling you to come to dinner, so you will come. You don't have the right to refuse. Understand?" Seeing this, the maid quickly pushed the girl's head down into a bow. "Yes, Your Majesty. I will help the princess get ready. She will be there for dinner." Left with no choice, she went. The butler at the door greeted her. "Welcome to the dining hall, Princess Bayana. Please come in." She smiled back. "Hello." Once inside, her father said, "Come and sit." Looking at the empty seat next to Lillian, she wanted to refuse, but etiquette demanded she sit there. Then her father suddenly said, "Babana, come sit next to me today." Lillian couldn't stand it and started whining again. "Father, I want to sit there." "Lillian wants to sit over there." "Lillian, don't make a fuss. You can sit there next time." Lillian then put on a teary-eyed face. Babina felt a chill run down her spine. Her father then said to her, "I asked you here today to introduce you to someone." It was only then that she remembered in the book Vibana had a fiancé. "This is Aid, the son of Duke Liberto, to whom you are engaged." But he was the second prince's study partner, and the person he was really in love with was Lillian. Great, another enemy for me. Her father then said to Aid, "I've called you here today to introduce you to your fiancé." Aid's face lit up with excitement. "I can finally be engaged to Princess Lillian." "No, you are engaged to Princess Babina." "What?" Aid looked as if he had been struck by lightning, then shot a furious glare at Babina. She thought to herself, "What are you glaring at me for? I don't want to be engaged to you either. You're just a little brat, not the least bit attractive to me." Lillian then added fuel to the fire. "Aid, I'm so sad. Daddy won't let me marry you." Aid turned to the king. "Your Majesty, may I ask why it isn't Lillian I'm engaged to?" Lillian's thought, "If I can't have it, neither can you." The king replied, "Are you dissatisfied with the match I have made?" 80 pressed on. No, I just want to know the reason. Because she's a fake princess and I'm the real one. Is that reason enough for you? At that moment, the king looked nervous. The grand prince and second prince were stunned, and Babana was perfectly calm. A fake princess? What does that mean? Lillian's face had already darkened. What would happen now that her identity as the fake princess had been exposed by Bivana? A fake princess? What does that mean? Aid asked in a panic. But Biana replied calmly, if you want to know what it means, just ask the fake princess herself. At that, Lillian's eyes filled with tears. Lily is a princess. I'm a princess. Biana watched her coldly. What are you going to do next? Start crying or start screaming? But unexpectedly, Lillian fainted. The king, the butler, and the maids all rushed over in a panic, quickly carrying Lillian out of the dining hall. The maid whispered worriedly, Princess Lillian, don't worry, she's fine. You're eating so calmly. Aren't you going to go check on Lillian? I don't think that's necessary. He then said, seriously, I'd rather look at you than her. There's nothing to see here. Then the grand prince pushed a strawberry pudding towards her. Here, eat this. I saw you fell in the water earlier. A pudding should help calm your nerves. She was confused. Why are you suddenly being so nice to me? The grand prince smiled. I've always been this nice. Has our great grand prince ever heard the saying, when something seems too good to be true, it probably is? You should stop being so nice to me. It feels like you're giving me my last rites. Relax. I'm not being nice to you, nor am I worried about you. I just wanted to observe you up close. Just like this pudding. Wheat like a pudding? No, weird like a pudding. Anyway, that's all. Enjoy your meal, my dear sister. With the grand prince's antics, she lost her appetite completely. Her maid whispered beside her, sigh. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have said anything to the head butler. What did you tell the head butler? Nothing. It seems you complained to him, and that's why he suggested to father that I join them for dinner. Is that right? The maid quickly apologized. I am so sorry, Your Highness. I just felt you were always being excluded by them, so I mentioned it to the head butler. I'm sorry. It's all my fault for meddling. But Babiana didn't blame her. In fact, she praised her. You're not mad at me? Of course not. You're the only one here who thinks about me, my dear Elizabeth. Thank you. Let's go. I don't like the food here. I'll make you something else as soon as we get back. After dinner, Babiana opened the book. She had to find out why Lillian, the one who was sacrificed, was fine, while Babana, the one who was left behind, ended up dead. In the dead of night, a blood-red moon hung in the sky, as if disaster was imminent. A man on a high platform addressed the man below, wearing a crown. Have you decided who will inherit this glorious position of being close to the gods? What glorious position? You're forcing me to sacrifice my daughter. The man on the platform threatened, time is running out. If you don't make a choice, the gods will punish this world. The lives of everyone hang on your decision. Why must I be the one to choose? How can I possibly decide? If you don't choose, both of your daughters will lose their lives. Finally, the king made his choice. Lillian, you will go. Don't be afraid. I will be with you. Lillian broke down, screaming. What do you mean you'll be with me? I'm going to die. If you were just going to sacrifice me, why did you raise me? Are you even a father? My child, you will survive. Trust me. Soon Lillian was led away by a cloaked man. The king's gaze followed Lillian until she was out of sight. Although Beviana was left behind, the king never looked at her again. Lillian, who was taken away, took all the king's love and concern with her. A month later, Lillian returned. She was unharmed, but she couldn't remember what had happened. The ritual was over, and the red moon in the sky vanished. The gods had spared humanity, and everyone credited Lillian for her self-sacrifice. The king, racked with guilt and remorse, doted on Lillian even more, trying to make up for everything. But ever since Lillian's return, the king was plagued by nightmares. Finally, one day, the king went mad. He killed all of his own blood relatives and then took his own life. After that night, only Lillian survived. Fabina closed the book. What a ridiculous and dark story. But there are a lot of suspicious things. Why was the Grand Prince never mentioned? And why didn't the second prince, who always adored Lillian, stop his father? Suddenly, she had a realization. The whole thing was a setup. The king knew Lillian would survive, so the second prince didn't stop him. The grand prince hid to see where Lillian was being taken. And from beginning to end, only Babiana was kept in the dark. She never received anyone's love in her entire life. And in the end, she was dragged down into a tragic end. I will absolutely not let this story repeat itself. That day, the maid took Babiana to the back garden for a walk. Babina was stunned by the sight of so many flowers. Having grown up on the streets, she had never seen such a beautiful flower field. As she was admiring the flowers, a man approached her. "Hello, little one," she asked. "Who are you? Are you a servant at the palace?" The man smiled. "You could say I'm the one who manages this garden." At that moment, the maid pulled Babiana behind her. "You, princess, run! I've never seen him in the palace before. I'm sorry. I still need to chat with this little one." "Please be quiet for a moment." A flash of purple light shot from the man's finger, and the maid's mouth was sealed shut, unable to open. "What did you do to her?" Fabiana demanded. "Don't worry. As long as she waits quietly, I'll undo it." But the girl didn't care. She bit down on the man's finger and said, "Let Isabel go. Let her speak." The man winced. "Easy there, little one. Have mercy. Don't you dare touch my label." The man sighed. "All right, I'll release her, but she needs to take a little nap." As soon as he said it, the maid collapsed into the flower bed with a soft thud. "Isabel," the girl cried out. "Don't worry, she's just asleep." "Are you a magician? What do you want?" "I was going to let it slide since you're handsome, but you can't just do this to Isabel." After propping the maid against a tree, the man said, "I just wanted to talk to you. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, I promise." The girl asked, "Can I trust you?" "Of course. If I wanted to harm you, I would have done it already." She pouted. "Fine, you have a point. I'll trust you this once. Let's sit down and talk." "Little one, would you like some milk?" "Don't treat me like a child. I want coffee." "Coffee? Are you sure? It's very bitter." She said proudly, "Of course." Suddenly, a chair appeared out of thin air and nudged her. Watching the chair sway back and forth, she asked, "Do you want me to sit on it?" When she did, she found it was really fun. It moved on its own. The man smiled. "Fun, right? I'll show you something even more fun in a bit." Then the chair began to hop and skip with her through the flower field. The man waved his hand and a tea set appeared out of nowhere. He even thoughtfully placed a teddy bear next to her. The man replied, "Don't you like it? Most little girls like dolls." She pouted. "I told you I'm not a little kid." He ignored her and placed the teddy bear in her lap. "Of course you are. Here, hold it. It's very soft and you can even use it for self-defense." "Self-defense?" she asked, confused. "How do I swing it at people?" "But this bear really is soft." "Nice, right? I made it myself." "Wow, you made it yourself." "I did. Do you like it?" "Yeah, I do." The man smiled, pleased. "Good. By the way, what brings your highness here? How did you know I'm a princess?" "Of course I know. Your hair and eye color and that mysterious power within you are all signs of royalty." Then she asked, "So, who are you?" The man said playfully, "Why don't you try and guess? Is this a guessing game? Let me think. Are we family?" The man stroked his chin. "Family? You could say we are, and you could say we are not. Let's just say we are not for now." She pressed on. "Are you a magician?" He thought for a moment. "Something like that." Another vague answer. "Are you a god?" The man suddenly fell silent. Seeing his reaction, she was shocked. He's actually thinking about it. Could he really be a god? Seeing her panic, the man asked, "Are you okay?" She quickly deflected. "This coffee is so bitter." He looked concerned. "I told you to drink milk." He then gently wiped her mouth with a handkerchief. "That's not important." "Are you really a god?" "Sorry, I'm not a god." He then patted her head. It's getting dark, you should be heading back. She smiled.
All right then, I'm going.
If you want to see me again, you can find me here, as long as it's not raining. She replied, I'd love to, but I probably can't tomorrow. Once Lillian gets better, I'll probably be grounded. The man looked puzzled. Why? Isn't Babiana a princess? Why would she be grounded? She forced a smile. What princess? I'm just a beggar from the streets, brought to the palace to be a foil for that other princess. The man bent down and stroked her hair. In my eyes, you are the one and only true princess. Then she asked, By the way, what is your name, mister? I don't have a name. Next time we meet, will you give me one? If you do, I'll grant you one wish. With that, his body began to fade away. She held the teddy bear he had conjured and said, Your bear is still with me. The man's voice echoed, Keep it. It's my gift to you. And then he vanished completely. The maid woke up and frantically asked, Where did that man go? Did he do anything to you? Who was he? I don't know. What did he say to you? I forgot. One day, Babina stared out at the heavy rain. It's been raining for 3 days straight, non-stop. I haven't had a chance to go to the flower field, she said to the teddy bear. Ever since I came to the palace, I've never looked forward to anything. But now I'm looking forward to seeing him again. He even asked me to give him a name. He's such a strange person. She leaned back on the sofa thinking, what name should I give him? There was a knock at the door. Who is it? Come in, it's not locked, she called out. It's probably that second prince again, here to cause more trouble. The door opened gently and a man's voice said, Princess Beena, have you been well? It was the king's head butler. She quickly stood up and curtsied. The man stopped her. Your Highness, you mustn't. According to protocol, you only need to bow to His Majesty the King and the future crown prince, not to anyone else. She said, I know, but thought, you're one of the few people here who's been kind to me. The man then asked, By the way, do you remember me? Of course I do. You're the one who brought me to the palace. I haven't had a chance to thank you yet. The man bowed. There is no need for thanks, princess. Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Aller Edge, His Majesty's head butler. I've been quite busy lately, so I haven't had a chance to visit. Isabel is very capable, so I wasn't worried, but I still feel bad that you only have one maid to attend to you. Habana hugged her maid. It's fine. Isabel is all I need. I'm very fond of her. Finally, the butler said hesitantly, Actually, I've come on a specific matter. His Majesty would like to invite you to dinner again. She grumbled to herself. Again? After what happened last time, he still wants me to come. Can't he just leave me alone? The butler seemed to sense her reluctance and bowed. Does the princess not wish to go? If you do not, you may refuse. You are a princess. You have that right. She was surprised. Really? Then I don't want to go. I don't want to eat with my father, and I especially don't want to eat with Lillian. Very well, Your Highness. I will relay your wishes. I will always be on your side, princess. After the butler left, she hugged the teddy bear. Teddy, when is this rain going to stop? Her maid asked. Keddy? Is that the toy's name? She replied, Yup, the man gave him to me. The maid then said thoughtfully, That man? I think I've seen a portrait of him somewhere. But Biana was shocked. The princess was pressing her maid about where she had seen a portrait of the mysterious man. When there was a knock at the door, she said impatiently, Who is it now? I'm busy. Busy with what? It was the king. Baba and her maid quickly curtsied. The king asked, May I come in for a moment? The maid gestured for him to enter. Babana thought, what a stupid question. The whole palace is yours, as if I could say no. Behind the king were the grand prince and the second prince. She asked, Father, is there something you need? The king sat down formally. When I brought you to the palace, I said I would treat you as family. I know you've been through a lot, so I hope you can get used to being with family in the future. She cut straight to the point. That's just the prelude, right? Just say what you came to say. It's Lillian. She said she misses you. But Biana thought, I knew it. Only Lillian can boss the three of you around. She said she forgives you for how you treated her before. She was furious, but held it in. Forgives me? What do I need her forgiveness for? For telling the truth that she's a fake princess? Lillian wants to get along with you, so go and make up with her. She clenched her fist. Is that a request or an order? It's a request. I acknowledge that you are the true princess, the only one who carries my blood. I promise I will not neglect you in the future. So if it's a request, then I have the right to refuse, right? I refuse. The king's face darkened instantly. And what if it's an order? He said, stroking her hair. I order you to come with me. Lillian wants to see you. Then she asked, so you all came here just to tell me this? The king sighed. I know that with your personality, you wouldn't come unless I came myself. So here I am. The king tried to take her hand, but she ignored him. So he simply picked her up. She struggled. I can walk by myself. You don't have to carry me. The king replied, I've realized you and I are very much alike. Seeing you is like seeing myself when I was young. I was the youngest prince in the palace, surviving among scheming brothers. All I could do was reject any kindness shown to me. She thought, seriously, why is he suddenly telling me palace secrets? The king held her and said, you are my family now. I will never kick you out of the palace. She thought to herself, right, you'll at least let me grow up so I can be one of the candidates for the sacrifice. But I've already read the book of prophecy. I know how you treated the original baby, the princess who died without ever receiving her family's true love. Soon the king carried her to Lillian's room. He told the maid to open the door, but she said, Your Majesty, are you sure you want to bring her in? Princess Lillian doesn't like people entering her room without her permission. The king glared at the maid. Liable, I've told you not to disregard protocol. This is the royal palace and I am the emperor. Do not try to make rules for me. The maid begged for mercy. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. I was only trying to protect my mistress. The only reason I tolerate you is because Lillian likes you. But my patience has its limits. Do not push your luck. The maid quickly nodded in agreement. The king then carried Babiana forward. Babiana looked back at the maid. Lidabel, I recognize that name. According to the book of prophecy, she is the birth mother of the fake princess Lillian. She was unmarried and had Lillian with an unknown man. To cover it up, she swapped her with Biana. But His Majesty doesn't know this yet. Lillian, the king called from outside the door. Lillian's face lit up. Father, you're here. Then she asked, Father, why did you bring her? Weren't you the one who said you wanted to see her? Lillian pouted. But I didn't ask you to carry her over. I just asked you to bring her. The king said sternly, Lillian, that's enough. Stop being so unreasonable. Lillian then started rolling around on the bed, throwing a tantrum. Don't you like me anymore, father? You're mean. You don't love me anymore. Babina thought, now you're annoyed. It's your own fault for spoiling her like this. I'm sorry. Lillian won't stop unless I put you down. It's fine. Unlike some people, I prefer to walk on my own. You don't like it when I carry you? That's right. I don't, because I'm not a child anymore. Meanwhile, Lillian was still crying and screaming. The second prince rushed over and hugged her. Lily, don't cry. You still have me. If father doesn't love you, your brother does. Babina covered her ears. So noisy. Just you wait. I'll deal with you sooner or later. The king then started to soothe Lillian. From now on, I won't carry anyone but you, Lily. Forgive me this once. Okay. At that point, the grand prince snapped. Lillian, that's enough. Bena was shocked. The grand prince is actually sticking up for me. The fake princess was so dramatic. Not only did she need someone to wipe her nose for her, but she also pointed a finger at Babayana and said, Listen here, I've already forgiven you. So from now on, you have to come whenever I call. Got it? Babiana scoffed. And why should I? Because I'm the princess, of course. Father wants us to get along, and I've already made a huge concession. Lillian, are you kidding me? Don't think you're a real princess just because everyone is nice to you. Hearing this, Lillian shot up from the bed. What are you getting up for? Are you planning to fake a faint again like last time? Who said I faked it? You're talking nonsense. Stop pretending. I saw everything. When you fell, you used your hand to brace yourself so you wouldn't get hurt. And you even peeked to see everyone's reaction. Don't you think it's ridiculous to put on such a show just to frame me? After saying her piece, she turned to leave. Lillian shouted after her, I didn't say you could go. Get back here, Babina said coolly. I don't have time to play your little princess games. Just then, the fake princess's maid shot Babina a hostile look. She thought, this lady seems to have a bad temper. No way. Is she going to hit me? Suddenly, the grand prince nudged her. Wow, you're pretty tough, Boulder. She shot back. What are you trying to pick a fight too? The grand prince quickly said, I'm not picking a fight. I'm complimenting you. Well, you have a weird way of complimenting people. Don't always give me that sour face. Who else in this palace cares about you as much as I do? She then hugged her maid and said, Mael cares about me. So you, Mr. Conceited Prince, can just leave this stinky, tough boulder alone and go look after your own perfectly carved little stone. The Grand Prince smiled. Actually, I've grown tired of Lillian's behavior long ago. He then said goodbye. Well, I'm off. You should head back soon too, my stinky, tough, and pretty scrappy little sister. She just huffed. You conceited prince. As the princess and her maid were about to leave, someone called out to them from behind. It was Lillian's maid. She glared at Babarna and said, I heard every word you just said. I wish to escape the palace, the mysterious man said softly. You are telling me about such a huge decision. Do you really trust me that much? She just smiled. Because you're handsome, her maid got anxious. But you can't do that, the mysterious man asked. Why do you suddenly want to run away? Because someone in the palace is jealous of my beauty. Don't joke around, tell me the real reason. I just want to be outside for a little while, even if it's just for a day. Do you know what it feels like to live in a place where nobody needs you? The mysterious man froze. The maid hugged and said, I'm so sorry. I didn't even notice how you were feeling. Fabiana thought, sorry to make you sad, Isabel, but I have to take this chance to get out. I need to find the temple described in the book of prophecy. So, my dear little one, where do you plan to go once you're out of the palace? She said she wanted to see the man's home since she couldn't just say she was going to the temple. My home? The mysterious man looked troubled. Yeah. Is that not okay? Don't you have a home, mister? Seeing his expression, she asked, wait, you really don't? Of course I do. I was just a little surprised. If you want to come to my place, then fine. We'll go to my home first and then we can stop by the temple on the way. Her maid spoke up. If the princess wants to go to the temple, she can just ask His Majesty. Why does she have to go with someone so suspicious? Babina sighed. Do you really think His Majesty would let me go to the temple? Little one, you've planned out the whole trip, but you still haven't told me the name you picked for me. She grinned. Haha, I almost forgot. Your name is Jenninson. The mysterious man looked as if he'd been struck by lightning and froze on the spot. Babina told the mysterious man, your name is Jensen. The man closed his eyes and murmured, Jenkinson, it seems fate has led me here again. Fate? She asked, confused. He patted her head. It's nothing. Then it settled. In 1 week, I'll take you away from here. She was overjoyed. The moment she got back to her room, she started packing her bag. Princess, that bag is so big. How are you going to carry it? She sighed. I have no choice. I have to bring Teddy with me, and a smaller bag won't fit. I want to show Jensen how much I love the gift he gave me. She then continued, don't tell the head butler about our plan to leave. Well, tell him right before we go. Suddenly, the head butler's voice came from outside the door. Your Highness, it's the head butler. Are you in? She called back. I'm here. Talk of the devil. What can I do for you, head butler? Your Highness, I have reported the previous matter to His Majesty and he has agreed to hire a tutor for you. She smiled. Really, that's great news. However, His Majesty has also invited you to dinner and if you refuse, he said to tell you it's an order. She grumbled to herself. Gee, what is this? Using family and affection to make me do things I don't want to do. But it's not the head butler's fault. I shouldn't make things hard for him. She then said, all right, I understand. I'll go. The head butler then asked, in that case, may I take the princess's hand? She said playfully. My hand is very precious, you know. Despite her words, she let him take her hand. At the same time, to ensure her maid wouldn't be punished for her escape, she came up with a plan. She turned to the head butler and said, "I have something to tell you." She then whispered in his ear. The maid stood by completely bewildered. The princess planned to escape the palace in a week. To prevent her maid from being punished, she asked the head butler to help transfer her away for a while. After she finished talking to the butler, the maid asked, "Princess, what did you say to him?" She just grinned. "He's a secret." She then headed towards the dining hall. As soon as she entered, she saw Lillian being fed by someone else. She's so old and she still needs someone to feed her, she thought. The king then had her sit next to him. Lillian glared at her. "This isn't dinner, it's torture," she thought. The king watched her eat and remarked, "It seems you still haven't learned proper table manners." She retorted, "Well, someone has to teach me first. You only gave me one maid, and she's busy enough just taking care of me. When would she have time to teach me etiquette?" The king asked, "Are you complaining to me?" She answered directly, "Yes." The second prince piped up, "Father, don't mind her. She's just a beggar who doesn't even know who her own mother is." She replied calmly, "I may not know, but I'm the biological daughter our father personally brought back." "If I don't know, doesn't he?" "Liar," Lillian said. "You're not his real daughter. You're an imposter." That made her laugh. "What? I'm the imposter. Someone here knows very well who the real imposter is." At that, the king said sternly, "That's enough, both of you. Babanna, you're right. I've been saying you're my family, but I've been ignoring your needs. Do you want to study?" "Yes, it would be nice to have someone teach me how to read," she said, a bit worried. Why is he suddenly being so nice to me? Does he have some ulterior motive? Suddenly, the king took her hand. "You're supposed to use the utensils from the outside in. You can be casual at home, but you can't forget your manners when you're out." "I know. I'll follow the proper etiquette." The grand prince then chimed in. "Not bad. This tough little rock from the outside is much better than the one we have at home." The second prince retorted, "Brother, how can you call Lillian a rock? Lily is a princess. Lily doesn't need to learn." "Brother and Liabel will help me." "Lillian, wake up. We are not going to treat you like a child forever. Father and I are already tired of it." "Brother, how could you say that? Lillian is so upset she can't even eat." The grand prince pointed to the cake on the table. "Does she look like she can't eat?" The second prince argued. "She used to be able to eat a whole one." At that, Babiana finally burst out laughing. The king then said, "You said you wanted to study, right? From now on, I will teach you myself." She quickly said, "That's not necessary, right? It's just learning to read. Anyone can teach me." She definitely didn't want to be in the same room as the king. It would be too awkward. The king patted her head. "There is no better teacher than me." She thought someone worse than you would be fine too. Lillian then declared that she wanted to learn too. The king said with concern, "This is for studying, not playing. You're not going to demand I carry you all the time, are you?" "I won't. Lily isn't a little kid anymore. Lily will be good." The king reluctantly agreed. Baba grumbled to herself, "Great, another pain in the neck." The next day, when Babiana saw Lillian walking on her own, she couldn't help but mock her. "Well, look at you. You can walk after all. I saw you being carried around all the time. I thought there was something wrong with your legs." Lillian replied with a dark expression. "Let's see how long you can act so smug." Looking at Lillian's face, Babina thought, they really are mother and daughter. They even make the same expressions. The maids opened the study doors. The king saw Lillian sitting at a desk and said, "Lillian, that's not your desk. That one was prepared for Beana." Lillian started to fuss. "Why isn't it for Lily? Everything in this palace is mine." The king said, "Lillian, didn't we agree you wouldn't make a scene? Look at Biana, who's the same age as you. She's waiting quietly over there." "What is she? Why are you comparing me to her?" The king ignored Lillian and said, "Babina, come and sit. This is your desk and chair. I didn't expect Lillian to come, so we only have one set. I said it was made for you, so it's yours." Watching Babiana's lesson, Lillian turned to her maid. "Is everything ready for what we talked about last time?" "We'll do it tonight." The maid was shocked. "Tonight?" "Yes, tonight. I can't wait any longer." The fake princess watched as her father taught Bayana, growing more and more annoyed. She deliberately interrupted. Father, Lily doesn't understand something. Can father explain it to me? The king turned to baby. I'm going to help Lily for a moment. I'll be right back. She replied, That's fine with me. The king went over to Lillian and said, Today, I'm not going to teach you how to write. I'm going to teach you how to speak. Speak? Lily knows how to speak. I used to think you spoke that way because you were little, but now looking at Bayana, who is the same age, I realize your speech is indeed delayed compared to other children your age. So I will teach you pronunciation while I teach Bayana to write until you can speak as normally as she does. Babanna couldn't help but chuckle. She thought Lillian only uses that baby talk voice in front of men. When she talks to me, she sounds perfectly normal. The king then began to teach Lillian how to speak. Stop acting like such a child. Look at Babina. Lillian looked extremely annoyed. After class, Lillian confronted Babana. It's all your fault. Father doesn't like Lillian anymore. Babiana turned away. What does that have to do with me? Maybe you should take a look at the things you've done. You just wait and see tonight. Her maid quickly shushed Lillian and then forcibly dragged her back to her room. Lillian yelled over her shoulder, I'll make sure you never smile again. After they left, Baba said to her maid, Lizabel, don't you think what Lillian just said was strange? The maid didn't understand. The girl thought, maybe I'm just overthinking it. But then she whispered something in her maid's ear. Later that night, Babana and her maid were fast asleep. A foot landed on the windowsill, and a figure in black leaped into the room. He drew his weapon, its blade gleaming coldly in the moonlight. As the man lunged towards Bayana, he suddenly tripped over something. You scared me. What's this bear doing here? Don't blame me, Princess Bayana. If you have to blame someone, blame yourself for messing with Liable. Suddenly, something struck the man's foot. Who's there? He hissed, looking around nervously. Suddenly, Teddy appeared and said, Are you trying to hurt my master, babe? The assassin was so startled by a toy bear that he fell to the ground. Teddy whispered, Be quiet. I need to take care of you before my master gets here. The assassin scrambled up and charged at Teddy, yelling, You stupid toy! Who do you think you're looking down on? I'll tear you to pieces and then I'll finish off that princess. Just as he was about to strike, Teddy vanished. He then reappeared and delivered a fatal blow with his head. Company. The assassin fell to the ground. Teddy thought, I can't let him live. He's too dangerous for master. He then spotted the weapon on the floor. This is good. This will do. Teddy wiped his forehead. That was hard work. He slung the weapon onto his back. This thing is pretty cool. I can use it to protect master. He then started cleaning his face. Oh no, I made a mess. This will scare master. He covered the assassin with a sheet. That should do it. Then he climbed back onto the bed. This way master won't find out about anything. The next morning, Babiana woke up. My room next door seemed pretty quiet last night. Was I just imagining things? The dolls are all in place, so everything should be fine. Just then, she saw the sheet on the floor. What's this? She went over and lifted it. The sight made her scream and scramble back against the wall. Her maid rushed in. Your Highness, what's wrong? Her voice trembled. What? What is this? She then screamed. Someone help! Somebody help! The head butler arrived quickly. Isabel, what happened? Bibi pointed. I came back into the room this morning and saw this. We will investigate this immediately. Isabel, please take the princess away from here. But was completely frozen in fear. Isabel, snap out of it. The princess needs you, the maid mumbled. I know. Just then, Babiana noticed something extra on Teddy's back. Isabel, something's not right with Teddy. But Isabel's mind was elsewhere. She answered automatically. Yes, I'll get him for you right away. The girl tried to stop her. No, oh no. But the maid misheard and handed Teddy to the princess. Princess Babiana, please don't move. I'll go make you a cup of tea. I'm fine, you can go, Bibana said, thinking. Isabel must be going to get information. She's probably just afraid to tell me because she doesn't want me to worry.
It's a good thing she was looking at the floor when she grabbed Teddy, or she would have noticed something was off.
That would have been trouble. But who killed that assassin? And why is there so much blood on Teddy? The blood is dry, so it must have happened last night. But it looks like someone tried to wipe it off.
Who kills someone and then has time to clean a toy? And why would they strap a dagger to it? As she was examining the dagger, a voice suddenly said, "That's dangerous." She cried out, "Who's there?" Teddy said, "Master, please give me back my dagger." She clutched her head. Did I take too much of a shock today? Am I hallucinating? Teddy nudged her with his paw. "Master, open your eyes and look at me." She was stunned. "Teddy, is that really you talking? When did you learn to talk?" Teddy smiled. "I've always been able to talk. I was just afraid of scaring you, so I never spoke up before." She retorted, "So, why aren't you afraid of scaring me now?" "All right, you can drop the act." She then tried to calm herself down. "Okay, deep breaths. This is the magical world. Jenninson can do magic, so him giving me a magic bear is totally normal." She then asked, "So, you're the one who took out that assassin last night?" Teddy stammered. "Yeah, no, it wasn't me. I'm too cute to do something like that." She shot back. "Stop pretending it was you." Just then, a man's angry voice came from outside. "What happened here? What were the knights doing?" It was the king. He was ordering the knights. "Find out the killer's identity immediately and how he got in." Then he asked anxiously, "Where is the princess? Where is she?" Elizabeth was too stunned to answer, but Biana pushed through the crowd. "Don't yell at my maid! I'm right here!" The king saw her and immediately pulled her into a hug. "Baby, I'm so glad you're okay. It's all my fault I wasn't paying enough attention to you, letting you face such danger. You can't stay here anymore. Move into my palace and live with me," she protested. "Wait, does that mean I'll have to live with Lillian?" She shook her head frantically. "No way, I'm not moving in," the king said coolly. "I understand your concerns, so I will have Lillian move out." After the assassination attempt, the king assigned the Red Wolf Knights to protect her until she moved into the main palace. But this was a problem for her. If Lillian finds out the king is kicking her out to let me move in, she's going to throw a massive crying fit. Thinking this, she told the king, "Hey, at least listen to what I want. I don't want to move and I don't want people guarding me." But the king replied domineeringly, "That's an order. You don't have the right to refuse." With the king's decree, she had no choice. With the Red Wolf Knights around her day and night, she never got a chance to talk to Teddy. One day, the head maid, Anna, came to call her for her etiquette lesson. As a princess, she must maintain her poise and sternly rebuke anyone who is rude so as not to lose her dignity. Suddenly, Lillian burst in. Biana scolded her. "Don't you know how to knock? You have no manners. Get out!" Lillian was furious. Anna then said, "Princess Beviana, how can you speak to Princess Lillian like that?" She said impatiently, "Didn't you just teach me that? To maintain my dignity, I have to sternly rebuke those who are rude." "You can do that to others, but not to Princess Lillian," she said fiercely. "And why not?" Lillian, still angry about being kicked out of the main palace, started flailing and yelling, "I hate you! Get out! Get out of here!" Bana yelled right back in Lillian's ear, "Will you ever stop?" Lillian clutched her ears in pain. Her maid Label looked like she was about to strike Babina. She said calmly, "Go on, hit me." A mere maid daring to strike the king's daughter. Label was speechless, her hand frozen in midair. Just then the Grand Prince arrived. "What are you all doing?" Lillian immediately ran to him, whining, "Brother, Biviana is bullying me." The Grand Prince said, "Is that so? All I see is Label with her hand raised, looking like she's about to hit someone." Lillian lied. "No, that's not it. Label was just teaching Babiana about manners. That's not important. My ears are what's important." But to her surprise, the Grand Prince raised his hand. Lillian cowered, covering her head. "Brother, what are you doing?" Little also cried out, "Your Highness!" The fake princess was screaming with her head in her hands. But the Grand Prince didn't strike. Instead, he smiled. "What's wrong? I'm just going to teach you some manners." Lillian cried, "Why? Why are you doing this to me?" The Grand Prince lowered his hand and said coolly, "Didn't father already tell you? You are both princesses. You need to get along." But Lillian kept crying. Father made me move out and now my brother is lecturing me. Ever since Beviana came to the palace, everyone started to hate me. What did I do wrong? She then turned to leave, sobbing. You're also mean. Bia grabbed Lillian's wrist. Don't think you can just play the victim and walk away. Don't you understand why everyone is calling you out? It's because of all the stupid things you've done. Lillian struggled. Let go of me, you witch! Fabina gritted her teeth. What a psycho. Just then the king appeared. Why is it so noisy? Lillian immediately cried out, Father! Babina knew she was in trouble. Great. In this situation, I look like the bad guy. Lillian whined to the king, Father, help me! She was going to hit me. And she yelled in my ear, my ear really hurts. Speak properly, what happened? Lillian pounded on the king's chest with her little fists. You're mean, father. It's all your fault. Babanna cringed. Here we go again. She signaled to her maid that they should leave. The Grand Prince asked, Why don't you explain what happened? Look at that touching father-daughter scene. What could I say to change anything? You might not understand, Mr. Conceited Prince, but when a person is constantly ignored and always blamed, after a while they just don't want to explain themselves anymore. The king called out to her, Babiana, I need to talk to you. What really happened just now? I want to make a fair judgment. She crossed her arms and said coldly, Fair? You're holding her while you asked me for the truth? You call that fair? The king was about to put Lillian down, but Lillian threatened, If you don't hold me, I'll lie on the floor. Babiana turned her head away. Fine, just say it was my fault. If she keeps screaming, my head is going to explode. As she was about to leave, the king said, Bee, don't go. You'll move into the palace with me today with an assassin on the loose. I can't let you stay here. Lillian overheard and asked, She's moving in because there was an assassin. If an assassin comes for me, can I live in father's palace too? The king said firmly, There won't be any more assassins. All the doors here will be locked and the assassin's identity is being investigated. Lillian fell silent, then called out, Littlebell, let's go! Her maid quickly followed. Yes, your highness. Ever since she moved into the main palace after the assassination attempt, the king would visit her for no reason, which she found very annoying. The Grand Prince was the same, always using the excuse that the view from her room was nice to come over. How am I supposed to escape from here? The day I'm supposed to meet Jenninson is today. A knight below called up to her. Princess, it's dangerous up there. Please go back inside. I know there are knights patrolling everywhere. How am I supposed to get out of here? She then called for Teddy. Master, what is it? Teddy asked, appearing. She bent down and whispered, Can you go tell Jenninson to come help me? He has magic, right? Teddy put a paw to his chin, looking troubled. I can't. The palace is surrounded by a seal. My creator can't get in. A seal? She asked, confused. Teddy added, If you can't even get out, master, what chance does a little teddy bear like me have? So she came up with an idea. Throw Teddy off the balcony. Teddy threw his paws up in fear. What, master? How could you be so cruel? She put her hands on her hips. Aren't you made of cloth? You won't break. I finally managed to get Isabel out of the way today. If I don't leave now, I might not get another chance. Just then they heard the knights outside. Assassin, protect Princess Lillian. Red Wolf Knights, assemble. The king also rushed out. Baby thought, I don't know what's going on, but this is my chance. She grabbed her bag and prepared to run. But this is strange. The assassin should have been sent by Lillian. Why is there an assassin where she is? Teddy hopped onto her back. All right, let's go, she smirked. Teddy, I remember you told me you were really strong, right? Of course. I could even lift you, master, without breaking a sweat. She shook her backpack. Then why are you making me carry you? Get down and walk yourself. Teddy clung on tightly. No. Besides, when you asked to sew the bag, didn't you say you wanted one big enough to fit Teddy? She turned her head. That was before I knew you could walk. Suddenly, Anna's voice came from outside the door. Princess Babiana, are you ready for your lesson? She panicked. Oh no, it's Anna, Hetty asked worriedly. Master, it sounds like Anna is right at the door. Can we still escape? She replied confidently. Don't worry, I have a plan. She then slipped into another room. Moments later, the head maid Anna pushed open the door and walked in. Didn't they say this room was under repair and couldn't be used? Teddy asked curiously. I know, she said. One day I wanted to see what was broken and I accidentally found a hole. I've already checked it out. The crack was an accident, but it happens to connect to a secret passage. But Teddy thought it looked too dark and didn't want to go in. Suddenly, Anna's voice called from the distance. Princess, Princess Bayana, where did you go? Babanna quickly crawled inside and Anna arrived a moment too late. See, I told you this must be a royal secret passage, but the scene ahead made her a little speechless. Why is it getting narrower? Are we going the right way? Did we make a wrong turn back there? Teddy couldn't help but ask. She snapped. Shut up, I'm tired. Stop talking! Poor Teddy was getting squished flat. Finally, she reached the end. There's light. The exit is up there, she told Teddy. Teddy, help me push that lid open. I can't reach it. No problem, leave it to me. Teddy easily pushed the lid open and climbed out. She called up from below. If no one's there, pull me out. But the next second, the lid was closed again. You stupid bear, where did you go? Let me out, she yelled, furious. You little furball, you betrayed me. Suddenly, Teddy opened the lid. I think I heard someone insulting me. She immediately changed her tune. Oh, you must have misheard. No one was insulting you. With Teddy's help, she climbed out. Just then, they heard the night patrol from behind. Have we searched over there? She gasped. Someone's coming. Seeing people approaching, Princess Baba quickly grabbed Teddy and ran. Peeking from behind a tree, she was surprised to see the king was there too. Are they searching for the assassin? I have to be careful not to be seen. If I don't escape today, there won't be another chance. They'll definitely keep me under lock and key. After a while, the Red Wolf Knights finally left. Biba quickly grabbed Teddy and continued to run. Teddy complained, Master, slow down. My arm is going to fall off. Quiet. If you're uncomfortable, get down and run yourself. Teddy quickly replied, No, my paws will get dirty. Teddy wants to be carried. I'm exhausted and you're still talking so much. She then started swinging Teddy around. Then I'll just let you get there first. And with that, Teddy was thrown through the air. Just then Jensen appeared and caught him. No matter what, you shouldn't treat Teddy like that, Babanna said huffily. You're just in time. I want to return this bear to you. Jensen was confused. He's a guardian I gave you. Isn't he useful? Babanna continued to pout. Some guardian. He won't even walk on his own. He's so lazy. Jensen scratched his head awkwardly. Sorry about that. I was feeling lazy when I made him, so I think some of that rubbed off on him. So this stupid bear's laziness comes from you. Sorry, it seems so. Teddy started to cry. Does Master not want me anymore? Bibina thought for a moment, still pouting. Fine, I'll forgive you one more time. Hearing this, Teddy immediately jumped onto her face. Yay, Master! I promise I won't make you angry again. Jensen, seeing their disheveled state, summoned a water spirit to clean them up. Bayana's face lit up. It's a spirit. Magic is so cool. Jensen asked, Do you want to learn magic too? Baba nodded eagerly. Of course. Can you teach me? But Jensen looked at her and said regretfully, No, you have absolutely no aptitude for magic. Babiana sighed. How am I so unlucky? I'm a princess who was swapped at birth and now I have no talent for magic, Jensen said awkwardly. You really are unlucky. Not only did she steal your position, but she was also born with magical abilities. Bibiana was shocked. You're kidding, right? She's the one with magic. Jensen shrugged. Unfortunately, it's true. Although she doesn't know it herself, her magical potential is quite high. How can that be? Hearing this, Biana was petrified. After learning she had no talent for magic, Princess Bibana was very disheartened. Jensen said, Don't be so sad. You still have me, and you are his child, so I will fully support you. If needed, I would give you all of my magic. Princess Babanna was confused. His child? Who is he? Jensen smiled slightly. That's a secret. Princess Babiana got a little angry. Everything's a secret. You never tell me anything. So from now on, I'm not telling you anything either. By the way, Teddy said you can't enter the palace. Is that true?
The previous emperor set up a very powerful barrier. If I enter, my body will melt. So the consequences are even worse than what Teddy told me. Jenninson then held out a hand. Well then, Princess Babina, may I take your hand? Princess Bayana placed her hand in his. Sure, let's go to the market first, then see the temple, and finally go to your house. Okay. Jenninson looked a little awkward. My house? Okay. He then told her, I'll put your bag away for you. Close your eyes. Princess Babanna felt a gust of wind. When she opened her eyes, she found herself in the air. She couldn't help but gasp. Jenninson said, See, that's why I told you to close your eyes. Princess Babina clung to Jensen tightly. How was I supposed to know you'd fly this high? Soon they were back on the ground. Princess Babanna let out a sigh of relief. Finally, Jennison found it amusing. You and Teddy are being a little dramatic. Princess Babana blushed slightly. A new day has begun. Suddenly, Jenninson said, Our silver hair is too conspicuous. We need to change it. Oh, right. Everyone in the palace has silver hair. I forgot about that. Jenninson then used magic to change their hair to gold. Princess Babiana looked at her hair and said, Wow, we look like father and daughter like this. The word father seemed to make Jenninson lose focus. Princess Babana then asked, Does Jensen not have a family? After a long pause, Jenninson finally said, No. Princess Babiana took his hand. Then for today, I'll be your daughter. She then pulled him along. Dad, let's go to the market. Okay, Jensen said with a smile on his face. Meanwhile, back at the palace, the king was yelling at the knight captain. Didn't I tell you to guard carefully? How did an assassin get in? A knight then spoke up. Your Majesty, Princess Lillian. When the king heard that the fake princess had been attacked, he rushed to see her. When Lillian saw the king, she immediately opened her arms for a hug. The king held her and asked worriedly, Lily, are you okay? Lillian said in her baby voice, Father, I was so scared. The assassin had already been subdued by the Red Wolf Knights, but the king frowned when he saw him. Lily, tell father when you found the assassin. Where did he come in from? Her maid quickly tried to speak. Your Majesty, the assassin was silenced. I want to hear it from Lily herself. The king interrupted. He continued to press. Tell me, where did the assassin come from? Lillian stammered. He came in through the door. Stressed like that when he came in, Lillian was at a loss for words. The king grabbed her shoulders and said loudly, Lily, look at me. Look me in the eye and answer. Lillian was scared and said hurriedly, Yes, he was dressed just like that. The knights began to whisper among themselves. This is too strange. No one could walk through the main gate dressed like that without being spotted. The guards were there and Princess Lillian is way too calm. Isn't she scared at all? But the king didn't get angry. He smiled and said, It's all right. Lillian was probably just frightened and can't remember clearly. He then turned to the maid. An assassin wouldn't just vault in through the front door, right? He then approached the assassin. Is this the one? The knights replied, Yes, Your Majesty. The king then ordered the butler to take Princess Lillian away. The maid started to say, Let me take the princess. But before she could finish, the king cut her off. I told you to stay here. Do you not understand an order? Lillian seemed to sense something was wrong. Why do I have to leave? I'm not going. I don't want to leave. But the butler ignored her, picked her up, and left. The next moment, the king drew his sword. Anyone who harms my daughter will pay. The assassin's face turned pale with fear. The maid quickly said, Your Majesty, wait. The king turned around. What do you want to say? Your Majesty, you should at least find out who the mastermind is, right? Isn't it a bit rash to just execute him like this? The king said coldly, Since when do you tell me what to do? Or is there a name you were hoping to hear as the mastermind?